Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is a big breaking news. It is a massive exclusive that we are putting out here on Times Now. It's the biggest ever banking scam in India. 22,000 crore rupees of your money, the taxpayers' money, has been looted systematically and shamelessly over decades with those who have friends at high places. This is the story of Rishi Aggarwal and the directors of ABG Shipyard, who are now being probed for defaulting on loans it took from a consortium of 28 banks. After Times Now traced and confronted Vijay Mallya, Nirav Modi and Mehul Choksi today, we were hot on the trail of the directors of ABG Shipyard. We tracked down the registered homes and these directors, but none of them could be traced. Watch what our reporters found.
कुमार टाइम्स नाउ टाइम्स नाउ
वो तो है ही नहीं लगती
नहीं है कितने साल से नहीं इधर
इतने साल से नहीं इधर अभी वो उनका बेटा है उससे बात करें एड्रेस तो यही
लेकिन एड्रेस तो यही है
बेटा है
बेटे से बात कीजिए ना बोले वो टाइम्स बात करना चाह रहे हैं
ठीक है सलमान होगा ना
लेकिन वो कितने दिन से यहाँ पे नहीं है मतलब
वो अभी अपने को भी आइडिया नहीं बाहर किधर गए हैं क्या मेरे को भी आइडिया नहीं
This is a place where one of its director Ashwini Kumar used to reside. We are out here. We spoke to the people and the watchman out here. He said that CBI officials visited a week ago for some kind of official purpose, and some papers were there with the CBI officials with them. Although they haven't seen Mr. Ashwini Kumar since last 2 years, that's what they have claimed.
Right now, Times Now team exclusively giving you the glimpse of one of the accused residents in Mumbai. And as you see, this is the very particular building wherein early in the morning hours, a few of the officials of CBI had come. They had probed the members who were there inside of the family. Let us tell you and give you the brief that the ABG Shipyard and its director have been booked by the CBI. The directors are Rishi Aggarwal, Sanathan Muthuswamy and Ashwini Kumar. They have allegedly defrauded 28 banks, and the fraud has taken place for 22,842 crore. ABG Shipyard Limited is a flagship company of ABG Group which engages shipbuilding and ship repair. So here they have taken money from 28 different banks, and the fraud took place between the year 2012 and 2017. In the year 2015, the company was facing some lows in the businesses, and that is when the directors and the partners decided to go to the illegal ways by utilizing the bank's legal money, and the biggest fraud has been notified. Now presently CBI is still conducting searches.
Meanwhile, Times Now has also managed to access the audit report prepared by Ernst & Young, which audited ABG books from April 2012 to July 2017. Here are their main findings. And in fact, the first finding is that the accused colluded together and had committed illegal activities. That is the finding of the Ernst & Young report of 2019. The second finding is that there was diversion of funds, misappropriation and criminal breach of trust. Finding number 3, payouts to related parties and subsequent adjustment in accounts had been made. Finding 4, diversion of funds via the overseas subsidiary ABG SL Singapore. Finding number 5, funds diverted to buy properties for people linked to promoters and ABG SL. Finding 6, properties were purchased out of the security deposits of ABG SL. Finding 7, that they violated the terms of agreement for corporate debt restructuring. All of this is from the Ernst & Young forensic audit report of 18 Jan 2019 that actually brought out for the first time this entire scam. Let's in fact go right across to Nikunj Garg as well as Bhavatosh Singh. But I want to first go across to Editor-in-Chief Rahul Shivshankar, who's joining us. Rahul, this is really a massive scam. It's this very report that led eventually to the CBI investigating this entire matter. But the big question is, what's taking so long as far as the investigation is concerned?
Yeah, several questions, of course. I will come across straight to Bhavatosh and leave the floor for him and Nikunj, of course. I just want to very quickly, viewers, talk about why we are interested in pursuing this story on the scale that we are intending to do. This is because, viewers, this is one of the biggest instances of loan defaulting. And there is a criminal intent. That is what the CBI, that is what the investigative agency is telling us. Obviously, all of this needs to be proved in a court of law, but that's one of the reasons why, viewers, we're interested in fighting to get your savings back. A large number of banks, almost 20 banks, have been milked of loans which were never paid back. There are several questions that arise. We will get into those questions, but fundamentally, Times Now is interested in going after this individual, as we have done. Nikunj Garg is, of course, here with us. He caught up with and confronted Vijay Mallya in London when very few had access to him. We spotted and tracked and traced Nirav Modi. We also landed up in the Caribbean to get hold of Mr. Choksi. So, viewers, when it comes to serving the national interest and your specific interest, Times Now takes the lead. That is precisely what we are intending to do. This individual, Mr. Aggarwal, who is one of the principal promoters of this company, in fact, used multi-level layering through about almost 100 firms to not only misappropriate these funds, but also take them abroad. We don't know where he is right now, viewers. The 4 listed residences and other places of offices, etc., and places where these individuals were known to be associated with. Times Now has gone to each one of those properties, and we haven't found these individuals there. This is a serious breach, because just yesterday the CBI has issued a fresh lookout notice. The earlier one was issued by the SBI. So clearly even the CBI is hot on the trail of this individual. But the fact of the matter is, viewers, Times Now is going to, in public interest, go after these individuals and ensure that your money is safe. Bhavatosh and Nikunj, please take it forward from here. Bhavatosh, we've been able to access the audit report. What does the audit report tell us?
The audit report clearly shows that there has been diversion of loan that was given to ABG shipyards, and they have also invested the bank loan into overseas. Now, according to CBI, this company, ABG Shipyard, is a flagship company of ABG Group, but there are at least 98 sister concerns of this company. And then subsequently, once this huge amount of loan was given through 28 banks, they invested abroad and also purchased large amount of real estate and also other investments abroad, and that's how this loan becomes so huge. Now, what CBI and other agencies have said is that they are actively going through various book records and other financial records of this company, and what they have said is that the directors and promoters of this company, in a very systematic manner, have diverted the loan and bank funds over a period of time between 2005 and 12, and invested it abroad and also in India, and that's how this amount became so huge. Now, they are not denying the possibility that bank officials are also involved in the scam, but they have said that they are still unnamed as far as the scam is concerned. The principal accused in this case continues to be Rishi Kamlesh Agarwal and others, and it was only on Saturday that CBI carried out raids and searches at 13 places, including the residence of Rishi Kamlesh Agarwal, who is the chairman and main director as far as this company is concerned.
Well, absolutely. Bhavatosh, stay with us. In fact, we're going to come to you as well as Nikunj for more details on that. But I want to first go across to Arunil, who has accessed these particular reports. And Arunil, I want to first come to you and get a detail from you as to break down this report, because over 100 companies that money has been diverted to just a year after they acquire a PSU. In fact, in 2014, the entire debt of this particular company is restructured. All of this will obviously lead to some certain questions as to whether the due diligence was not done at the time that this takeover happened.
Well, certainly, yes, Madhav. And if we want to understand the magnitude of this entire scam, imagine the Vijay Mallya scam was to the tune of rupees 9,000 crore. Nirav Modi's scam was more than 11,000 rupees a crore. Whereas this ABG Shipyard scam, it is more than 22,800 crore. So that is double in fact, if we combine both Nirav Modi and Vijay Mallya scam, the entire money that they had taken, ABG Shipyard has taken more money than them, and it is extremely serious. And if you look at the total modus operandi as well, they were basically taking loans from a consortium of banks, around 28 very renowned banks of India, be it the ICICI, IDBI, SBI, as well as Bank of Baroda and several other banks. Loans were taken for their own business. However, there was a complaint filed by the SBI with the CBI basically saying that the bank officials, top bank officials and public servants colluded and used that bank money for their own personal gains, basically bought property from those bank loans. And in fact, I was speaking to one of the senior CBI officials. He was basically saying that the damage is already done. In fact, that is more serious. The money that ABG Shipyard has made, and now it is basically it has become a non-performing asset. So from where these banks are going to recover that money, that is the big question that arises. Rishi Aggarwal certainly is absconding.
Okay.
So how this money of the Aam Aadmi that has been deposited in these banks, how the CBI or the agencies are going to recover, how basically these banks are going to recover, that is the question that arises. And why not proper checks and balances were done?
Absolutely. Why were those proper checks and balances not done? Before I go across to Nikunj and other reporters who've been doing a lot of work on ground, let's quickly take a look at what really the flowchart of this money really is. This is what we're talking about. The loot cycle explained over here. This is as far as ABG Shipyard is concerned. 603 crores is going to Ocean Shipping Private Limited. 1,415 crores goes to PFS Shipping. Also 812 crores goes to ABG Engineering and Construction Limited. This is as per the audit report of 2019. All of this, which is 1,415 crore rupees, then is round trip to PSF Shipping and then through ABG Shipping. So this is the first network as far as the funds flow is concerned. If you can quickly take this through the other areas as well that we are bringing to our viewers, this is the entire cycle of loot that has very clearly been broken down in terms of graphics, and this is how through various companies the money was round-tripped is the information that is coming to us. Let me go across to Nikunj Garg, who's joining us. Nikunj, very clearly this money was circulated through various companies, and it is through that process that the money was not just taken off from India, but also to various, including 98 a total number of companies that it has actually been circulated through. That's what the audit report says, isn't it?
Well, yes, and these are claims of one of the auditors. We are not yet privy to whether other auditors have been engaged in the process, whether other auditors have done found out similar findings, whether those reports of different auditors were used by the promoters of this company to secure tertiary or the secondary tranches of the loans that they initially secured. Quite clearly, the amount is humongous. Quite clearly, it cannot be dispersed even by 20 banks in one tranche. Quite clearly, there are multiple tranches that have been released by the bankers. Now, what were the audit reports? On the face of it, quite clearly, there would be audit reports and forensic audits that have been done by third-party auditors and the bankers that were releasing the fund, their auditors too. So we are not privy to them. In one of the audit reports, which probably appears to be done after the fraud came to the light, these are the claims being made by one of the auditors. Now, one of the auditors and country's so-called premier investigating agency, the Central Bureau of Investigation, is seemed to be relying upon that report are on the one side. We have not yet heard the promoters of this company. Promoters may have a version. As of now, what we have seen is a political slugfest between the Congress party, which jumped into the fray to say that the State Bank of India deliberately delayed filing of police complaint or the Central Bureau of Investigation complaint in this matter, which was later turned into a first information report. However, for the benefit of our viewers, I must say that there is a proper mechanism dealing with the bank frauds in the Central Bureau of Investigation. There is a committee of officials which has been nominated by the Ministry of Finance, Government of India, which scrutinizes each fraud claim above 100 crore rupees and recommends to the Central Bureau of Investigation that these are the cases in which it appears that there was a deliberate, willful default and money laundering and siphoning of funds, and hence this can come under cheating and breach of trust. In other cases, the recommendation may not be so. So the entire process may have consumed some time. So in that sense, the Congress party's allegation may or may not have some merit. However, the government hasn't come out. It has made the State Bank of India speak on this matter. State Bank of India on the record has denied any kind of delay in filing of the FIR. State Bank of India has said that all due processes were followed. However, as Arunil was pointing out, that there are more than 20 banks involved. And in one particular bank and banker's case, there are allegations that have swirled on the social media. At this stage, let's not give them much credence, but they have indeed swirled on social media.
Very damning is the CBI statement. The CBI has come on record with a cover-up charge as far as this entire matter is concerned. The Central Bureau of Investigation has alleged that most of these loans were given under the Congress-run government between 2005 and 2012. Here are, in fact, some excerpts from this particular CBI statement. All right, and take a look at these charges that have actually come. The first charge is that the account of ABG Shipyard turned NPA on 30th November 2013. That basically the allegation being that the genesis of the scam is in the UPA era. They further go on to say that the majority of disbursement took place between 2005 and 2012. Charge 3, the critical period of the CBI investigation is 2005 and 12. Charge 4, disbursement in 2005 to 12 by consortium of 28 banks. Charge 5 is that the probe in 100 high-value bank fraud cases was not registered. The next charge in this entire matter is that this is because 8 states have withdrawn general consent. Remember, this is a very sensitive political issue. Several states have withdrawn the general consent to the CBI. Moving on, saying that no consent in Punjab, Rajasthan, Bengal, Chhattisgarh, Maharashtra, Kerala, etc. The point after this, of course, being very clearly that this entire consent, which allows for the CBI to freely investigate in those states where there is general consent, is, of course, going to be a serious problem. Let me quickly bring in Bhavatosh on this, because Bhavatosh, this is very, very important. The general consent being withdrawn is a very important point that the CBI is making, because as many as 7 states, if I'm not mistaken, have withdrawn the general consent over the past few years.
Yes, Madhav. In fact, CBI, apart from answering why there has been a delay of 18 months, has gone ahead and said that the general consent in 8 states have been withdrawn, and that is the reason why they have not registered cases in 100 high-profile banking fraud case. As Nikunj was also saying, this probably is one of the biggest banking fraud case in the country. The figure is mind-boggling, 22,000 plus 100 crores, and this clearly shows that CBI has a very hard task before them to investigate this case and then bring the culprit to the books. As far as the CBI is concerned, they have said that they have carried out a due diligence, and that could probably be the reason why it has taken them some time to register the case. They have said that they have located all the accused in this case, clearly means that all the accused are here in India.
Okay, stay with us, Bhavatosh. Let me quickly bring in my colleagues Shivani and Sandeep, who also done a lot of legwork. Shivani, you went to the residence of one of those directors. What was the response that you got on ground, Shivani? All right, I think we've lost that line there with Shivani as well. Let me quickly bring in Sandeep, if I can. Sandeep, take us through your experience. You did try to access some of those directors, but clearly, at this moment at least, they have been very, very difficult to access. All right, we've lost both those lines there, and going across to Nikunj. Nikunj, this is normally the case. We do, of course, as you rightly said, the director's version is something that Times Now has tried to access, but it is, of course, extremely difficult when the directors themselves are not coming forward with their version.
Well, yes, as I said, that we are yet to hear from the promoters, we are yet to hear from the people who are running that business, and they may have a story to tell, which may quite clearly differ from the prosecution agencies and one of the auditors' story. However, for the want of that, one will obviously be forced to accept the fact that the principal auditor on which the Central Bureau of Investigation has relied and country's so-called premier investigating agency are on the one side at this moment and are treating it as a serious criminal offense, which is now being probed by the CBI as well. So in that sense, quite clearly, there is a loss of exchequer. Supreme Court in the past has very clearly said that money residing with the public sector undertaking is dubbed as public exchequer, which would mean that the definition of the public exchequer, which is the exchequer that belongs to the public or the sovereign of India, applies to the public sector banks as well. Okay. Therefore, the fact remains that if public money or public exchequer has been looted to such a mammoth amount, quite clearly, multidisciplinary investigations are required into it with greater amount of alacrity, earnestness and seriousness than so far displayed by the CBI and the SBI both, which it appears to me is the lead of the consortium bankers. However, both of them quite clearly have processes, and they claim that the entire case, during the entire flow of the case, they have not delayed the investigations, but the processes have consumed the due time.
Okay, stay with us, Nikunj. There is Shivani also joining us. She also has been to several of those directors' residences today. Shivani, take us through your experience when you went there, when you tried to contact the directors. What was the response you got?
So first of all, we directly went to the official address of the chairperson of ABG Shipyard, that is Mr. Rishi Aggarwal, where the security guards informed us that he does not stay here. His family members, his brother stays here, though Rishi Aggarwal keeps on visiting this place, but past from 2 to 3 months, they have not seen him. Only his son visits the particular place. And in fact, when CBI had also come, and after that, we can say the guards informed us that the family members have also started moving out less. And in fact, the outsiders, those used to visit his place, those activities have also stopped. And when we reached out to the another location of Rishi Aggarwal, where it has been informed to us by his own guards and his ex-drivers that sir stays there with his family, with his wife and children. We reached out to that particular place. First, the guard informed us, okay, we'll let you know whether sir is there at home or not.
Let's get a quick update from Sandeep as well. Was it the same story there, Sandeep, when you tried to contact the directors?
See, when we visited there at Chembur Supreme Epitemo apartment where Ashwini Kumar used to reside, the guard said that we haven't seen him since last 2 years. Now, what is more shocking is that we tried to connect the family of the director through intercom. The family also denied to speak to us. And what more info we got from the security guard at Chembur residence of Ashwini Kumar, the security guard informed us that the CBI officials came a week ago, had served some notices and some documents were there in their hand, and later they went. So definitely there is no one from the directors who came out or from their family.
Okay, no comment coming in from the directors, no comment coming at the moment. I'd like to thank all our reporters for joining us. Arunil for breaking this big story, Nikunj and Bhavatosh for adding perspective, as well as Shivani and Sandeep for doing legwork on the story on ground there, trying to reach out to those directors as well. Let me quickly bring in our guests who are joining us. We have with us Tuhin A, spokesperson of the BJP, Ravi Srivastava, political analyst with us. Ravi Srivastava, it's an Ernst & Young report from 2019. The CBI statement is there on record. Times Now has tried to contact the directors, and this is potentially India's biggest banking scam. However, what the statement of the CBI makes very clear is that the scam really took place, according to them, between 2005 and 2012, which coincides with the UPA era.
Madhav, since in your report you were also mentioning sometimes that social media there's some kind of an uproar about some bank, and the same social media is to be believed, then Mr. Rishi Kamlesh Agarwal has become a Singapore citizen and he has already fled to Singapore. So this is what is my contention, that instead talking about 2005 to 2012, let us talk about the last 8 years in which all bank defaulters, fraudsters, scamsters have been nurtured by the Narendra Modi government. Not only that, they have been allowed to escape.
Okay. Just want to come in 1 minute. In fact, they have not been allowed to escape. That's the point that you are making. There's some breaking news coming in. The CBI clarifying that ABG accused have been located here in India. Bhavatosh, take us through what the CBI is really saying.
Well, in fact, the CBI has clarified that all the accused in this case, 5 or 6 who have been named in the FIR, including the all-important director and chairman of ABG Shipyard, Rishi Kamlesh Agarwal, they have all been located, including Ashwini Kumar Agarwal, where Sandeep Singh had gone, and others who have been named in the FIR. They have all been identified, located. So that's an important development that has taken place in this case. They have said, though they have issued a lookout circular against them, there is no fear that they have fled the country. They are very much here. They have all been located. So one can expect that in days to come, they will be joining the investigation. CBI will be issuing summons against them. So all of them have been located. Their location has been traced. They might not be staying at the present location that has been mentioned.
Stay with us, Bhavatosh. Very important point that you're making over there. Let me quickly bring in Tuhin Sinha as well. Tuhin Sinha, some questions coming in from Ravi Srivastava. You heard those questions. Some basic questions also being asked is that if this Ernst & Young report had come out in 2019, what's been happening for the past 3 years? Where are these individuals? While the CBI says that they are here in India, they certainly don't appear to be at their residences. And of course, at the same time, if this did indeed happen before 2012 or 2013, why has it taken so long for them to be brought to justice?
Madhav, it is crystal clear right now that this entire scam took place between 2005 to 2012, which was an era where indiscriminate lending for ulterior motives with connivance of, the top bosses of the UPA era has become a pattern. Now, in 2013, the same loans were declared in NPA. Now, there is a certain process where Nirmala Sitharaman ji has explained that banks normally take 52 to 54 months for a proper, detection of these scams. In our case, we have followed mainly that period.
All right. So the banks had to do their due diligence before they actually go ahead and take action in this case. Tuhin Sinha, I'm afraid I'm completely out of time. Let me thank both you as well as Ravi Srivastava for joining us. We're going to slip into a very quick break for now.